Teachers of Reddit, what is the most NSFW thing you've seen while being a teacher? Back when was an intern, I used to spend a lot of time with the school's IT guy. One of the duties was updating the browser filter so students couldn't use the internet freely. This was before laptops were common in schools. The list of blocked websites included some very weird and freaky sites. I had access to a server in an office environment back in the 90s. I was able to see the URLs of what everyone was browsing. So much porn. In the middle of the day. Men and women. It was interesting at first, then just disturbing. If 70% of the internet is porn, it's because people use 70% of their time on the internet to watch porn. I worked IT at a school. Had a laptop come in that suddenly stopped working for no reason. In a surprise to no one, the inside was filled with sticky brown soda residue. Got the motherboard replaced at a shop, powered it on, and horse porn. With a lot of search history to go along with it. I considered my job done and just handed it to the principal and was on my way. Edit, when I powered on the computer, the browser recovered the previously opened pages, and that is where everything popped up. We looked through the search history afterwards. But still, it was a school-owned machine, checking search histories on them was pretty standard. Edit 2, not a furry thing. Real horses, real people. Also a lot of people mentioned Mr. Hands, so I made the mistake of looking that up. Yeah, like that, but multiple different videos. Why do people put any kind of porn on their work computer? If they're really that desperate to get off at work, they should carry a thumb drive with it hurried several folders deep so no one finds it. Former teacher. Had a 3-year-old scream at me during nap time that I was a fucking bitch. I mean, I am, but no need to be so blunt about it. Reply, I know you are, but what am I? The child's head will explode. I'm rubber, you're glue, whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. Told that to my ex's 13 years/show kid when he was throwing a tantrum at me, blew his mind. Had a 4-year-old tell me the myriad of ways he'd like to kill me. Shoot me with gun till I'm dead, put me in fire until I'm dead, etc. Then he tried to push a shelf over on a sleeping child. Fun times. This seems like something where a professional comes in. My mom works in an elementary school. They had to hire a psychiatrist specifically for the school because I'm not exaggerating when I say there's a kid like this for every classroom. She gets death threats daily, physically assaulted, spit on, bitten, has to hear horrible things that she can't even repeat. Most often the parents don't give a shit to send them to a professional outside of school, and have learned to play the system and not get forced into anything by CPS. School only had enough resources for one psychiatrist, and she has almost 100 kids on her list. In a school with 400. I was a science teacher in a boys' boarding school. The school was located in a very cold region and so some kids would skip showers. Once I was on duty and I had to go inspect the boys' dorms. I noticed a really awful smell coming off one kid. I reported him to his housemaster so he can get him to shower. Long story short, at some point it came to light that the kid had developed gangrene around his private parts and in his feet. It fell on me as the teacher on duty to take him to the hospital. On further inspection, the kid was found to also have bed bugs, so I had to be scrubbed down too and shave my hair bald for being close to him, and the health inspection office also got involved with the school and the school basically closed for 4 weeks. PS the school had hot water showers for students but not in the teachers' quarters, so all the teachers showered with cold water. This kid really had no excuse. Edit, the kid in this story recovered and the school got more serious with inspections. The local government got involved and constructed addition showers for the students. They bought a diesel generator and water heater too, so that went well. Last year the school was voted cleanest in the district, and this year it was in the news being praised as a rehabilitated institution. It's called Fournier's gangrene. Basically necrotizing fasciitis, flesh-eating bacteria, of the genitals. Pics https://www.researchgate.net/figure/a classical presentation of Fournier's gangrene _fig 1_325,934,139, for the brave. A surgeon has to cut away the dead tissue until only healthy tissue is left. So basically you lose your dick. I've seen and smelled this in person. Words cannot describe the odor. I thought I was brave. I thought wrong. I teach group music lessons. One group consists of 5 9-year-old girls who are learning the flute. While one of them was in the bathroom, another grabbed her flute, held it to her posterior and farted on it. She placed it back on the table and muttered, "That's what she gets for wearing a hat indoors. This is fucking incredible." She's just 9 and already a candidate for the fashion police. IT admin at a local school district. You would be surprised what I have seen on kids' search histories. Mostly memes of the day, but sometimes it's pretty fucked up. If you're using your own device and using a VPN, but you're on the school's Wi-Fi, will it show what sites you're visiting? Edit, Jesus y'all, I'm not watching porn at school, I'm just curious. No, not unless the school's sysadmin is a surprising badass. Back when I was a long-term substitute, I walked into the backstage area of the theater and interrupted 2 students having sex on couch we used for the show the previous week. Turned around and walked out saying you have 2 minutes to get dressed and get on stage. I didn't report them to admin, but I gave them a talk about appropriate time and place. I then had the couch moved into storage. Same. We had an upstairs lounge over the stage. Pretty nice one too. After school, a lot of students had sex up there. We had a place above the gym where there was laundry. One time 2 teachers were up there and the woman was so loud everyone in the gym could hear it. Basketball practice was going on at the time and one of the assistant coaches was laughing so hard he had to hide behind a curtain. The head coach wasn't too happy about it. The male coach ended up getting fired for it, but then helped out some of the kids from the class to take care of a local bully. It all worked out in the end. A few years back, a teacher at my school had sexy pics taken for her husband, and wanted to email them to him. She scanned them on a printer at work, and uploaded them to a shared public directory, thinking she was uploading them to a private folder, which I still don't know why she thought this was a good idea. Needless to say, it didn't take long for someone to find her pics on the shared directory. Why would you even consider doing that at work, especially at a school? Horny people do strange things. Edit, thanks for the gold. Horny stranger. Not a teacher, but multiple times this emo girl was caught jacking off her boyfriend. Whether it be in the lunchroom, the classroom, the bathroom, etc., she always was jacking him off. I walked in on them doing this, but they didn't notice me. I left the room as soon as I saw them. Last I heard, the girl got expelled and the guy got off scot-free. Edit, this girl was getting paid. Not by her boyfriend but by different people. A friend told me that if you gave her $300 you could do whatever you wanted. Greater than the guy got off. Well, yeah. That was kinda the point. Edit, obligatory thanks for the silver. Glad that me being a fudge and witty bastage has paid off. Seriously though, glad I made people smile. Edit 2, holy fuck gold. Not necessary. Just post something witty. Or don't. Just laugh and move on. Many other more important things to spend money on. Reddit gold. Go buy your kids / significant other / pet / parent / etc. something nice instead. But thanks. Kids would airdrop naked pics to whoever had theirs turned on. After teachers getting a bunch of pictures, we had a huge school investigation. I taught 7th and 8th grade. Edit, a lot of people asked and I wasn't specific, I guess. The pics were either of themselves or of other kids who I would assume sent them in confidence and then they got distributed. My school has 1-to-1 iPads, so occasionally everyone will just start airdropping memes to each other. I made the mistake of leaving my phone on the setting where anyone could send me stuff and all of my band kids were sending me memes. Nothing fucked up, thankfully. Edit, they were mostly memes of me. One kid kept sending videos of him playing banjo in an elf costume. If I were a teacher, I'd be the one dropping memes like this one. https://i.reddit.it/idikes5if31.jpg. All the kids would groan with how /r/fellow kids it is, but you know they secretly love it. They're just too cool to say it out loud. All the daily Reddit posts YouTube channels were really hoping this one would take off. That fucking robot voice on every video is just AskReddit. I caught one of my female students having sex with her 21-year-old boyfriend in the upper floor. I was going to make a personal call and I wanted better reception, so I went up the stairs thinking I would make the call by the window up there. As I made my way up, I immediately froze as I saw her boyfriend getting off her, missionary style. She yells "Oh my god" and immediately tries to get up. I quickly turn around to look at the wall. At this point I saw everything, both of them. I nervously yelled at the wall, "What are you doing? Please get dressed this instant." I run down the stairs to ask my co-worker to call security. I didn't recognize the bearded young man, and just wait for them to take over. They were both taken to the principal's office. I'm not sure what happened to them though. A little later the principal interviews me for questions with the police and neither of them seemed surprised. TBH, just another issue in their day, I guess. I still see her in the hallways. We avoid eye contact. So awkward. I feel sad for her, though. I think she's one of those girls with a reputation. Getting railed in the halls tends to earn a bit of a reputation. To be fair, this happened during my prep in the morning. There were classes going on with closed doors and nobody was walking in the hallways. Additionally, when I say upper floor I mean the door to the rooftop, a full flight of stairs away from where people normally walk by. I learned later that is a popular make-out corner and I often see students sitting on the stairs. My guess a few just want to get lucky. It also happens it's right next to my classroom. I wish I could avoid it. TBH. Summer camp counselor back in late 90s. A 13-year girl gave a 13-year boy a blowjob in the woods. The boy stupidly bragged about it to the other kids. Another counselor overheard it and reported it to the camp owner/director. He had both kids brought to the office and they each had to call their parents and tell them why they were getting kicked out of camp. This one time, at band camp, I stuck a flute in my pussy. Anything is a dildo, if you're brave enough. I teach middle school literature and theater. First year of teaching, after a rehearsal when I thought all my students had been picked up, went back to the stage to collect a few things. Walked in on two 8th graders getting super touchy-feely. Guy had gotten her shirt off and was working on removing her bra. Not sure who was more embarrassed, me or the kids. Turned my back, told them to get dressed and get to the front doors. Immediately called both families. Both were pretty cool with it, all things considered. Worst part was, about 3 minutes into the conversation with the girl's father, he realized I'd seen her without a shirt on. Don't think I made eye contact with either one of them for the rest of the year. Edit, lots of discussion on whether I was right to contact the parents. I feel like that's fair. In the moment it was a total see your choice. If I contact them immediately and say this is what happened and what I saw and what I did, then that's the story. If I do nothing, and it comes out later, it's really easy for either of the kids to say well he was standing there watching with a big grin on his face. Teaching is a profession where even the appearance of impropriety is a fireable offense. Teachers have lost their jobs for less. Greater than worst part was, about 3 minutes into the conversation with the girl's father, he realized I'd seen her without a shirt on. I mean, yeah, but you prevented it from going further. If anything, I'd hope to think he was grateful to you. I imagine he didn't get mad or anything, just a quiet oh shit look. I saw a 15-year-old girl take the virginity of 3 guys simultaneously. All were suspended. 2 of the guys criminally charged because they were 18. The other one was thrown from the school. The girl, as far as I understood, was thrown from the next school she went to as well and ended up in the psych ward. Her uncle, who was her legal guardian, was arrested 3 months afterwards. This is an incredibly sad story. I bet her childhood wasn't the greatest. It was a tragedy from the start basically. Mom died at childbirth, father became an alcoholic and eventually so abusive that he went to jail. She got sent to her last remaining relative, her uncle, who sexually abused her. She had a reputation as the cool girl that smoked, drank alcohol. Edit, some people really focusing on the important parts of the comment here. She is now with the full-time colleague teacher whom I got involved in the situation and does as well as she can given the circumstances. She smiles way more is all I can tell. Former college faculty here. The worst one I have experienced was being in the bathroom while some guy was having phone sex while he was taking a crap. To this day I am amazed that I was able to not laugh. You should have started replying. There were numerous times when I wanted to. It always grossed me out that these students would sit in stalls, audibly taking a crap, fart, and so forth, all while having a conversation with someone. Preschool teacher here, and this is about to get weird. One thing kids have in common is they reach an age where the mysteries of their bodies become incredibly fascinating. One aspect of this is when little boys realize they get erections. Yes, if you're not a parent or a teacher, little boys get erections, even infants do. One time when I was teaching 4 to 5 year olds, one little boy was taking way too long in the bathroom. The door went 3/40 HS of the way to the ceiling so teachers could monitor, and when I peeked into the bathroom I found one of our little boys exploring himself. By this I mean he was using his little boner to push the bathroom stall door open, letting it swing back, then pushing it open again. Kids are fucking weird. Edit, this was the last comment I ever wanted to be upvoted. Wow, I can open the door with my PP. Not me, but a client told me a story one time. She was a middle school teacher and they were away on a field trip. Doing checks at night, she heard noise in one of the rooms, and when she walked in it was a full-blown sex party. With 12-year-olds. Over 6 kids. Breaking it up was one thing, but the fallout was insane. She said all the parents were suing each other, getting police involved, etc. She also basically had to testify to being witness to underage sex. Only one kid returned to the school afterwards. What the fuck? Puberty is a hell of a drug, man. You're also a kid, so you don't really understand the implications. I remember trying to find porn, and in some cases finding it, for people my age when I was in my mid to early teens. Never even considered it might be bad. Just wanted to see girls my own age naked. You could find some messed up shit in the early 2000s. School camp for 14 to 15 year olds. Walk in on a girl giving a guy a hand job with about 4 other guys just sitting around watching. Greater than school camp for 14 to 15 year olds. Walk in on a girl giving a guy a hand job with about 4 other guys just sitting around watching waiting for their turn. Haha, yeah, you're probably right. Walked into the restroom one day and caught a 6th grade girl giving an 8th grade boy a blowjob. Edit, 6th grade is 11th, 12th and 8th grade is 13 to 14. I'll see you and raise you a 7th grade girl blowing an 8th grade boy in the hallway. Oh shit, I'll raise you to 2 8th graders, one giving a handjob, the other getting fingered, on a bus with 30 other children to a school field trip. One of my mom's students would masturbate in class. Had her feet up on the desk and everything. It was 2nd grade. Sorry, how old are students in 2nd grade? 7 to 8 years old. I was a student in high school and in my junior year we had a substitute shit himself. I felt bad for the guy, but it brought much joy to my heart because the chair he shit himself in belonged to my old history teacher, who we later found out was a pedophile. What the fuck? Yeah, it was great, definitely one of my favorite memories. Used to be a teacher for a year, but this story is relatively tame compared to some of the things I'm reading here. One day I was giving a test, walking in between the students, some girl sitting in the last row. Everyone was bent over to fill in the test, but every time I walked behind the last row, it appeared as if that girl had pulled her pants lower and lower, up until the point she was nearly sitting on the chair with her bare cheeks. Of course I had to tell her it was inappropriate, at which point she had to button up her pants again in order for them to stay up. Very strange thing to comment on, I can tell you that. This reminds me a story a classmate told me many years ago. Seems he'd had a girl in his class a year earlier who had to get herself off every morning in first period. As he told it to me, every morning, she'd come in real grumpy. Then she'd sit at her desk with her heel tucked under her crotch and start rocking. After a few minutes her face would get all flushed, and she'd spasm a few times, then she'd be all cheerful the rest of the day. Everyone in the class knew what she was doing. After a while, we all ignored her. I always wondered if this girl thought she was getting away with it, or if being watched helped her get off. Probably the second one. Exhibitionism seems like a relatively common fetish based off the internet. Posted this on a similar one once, but applies here. Currently a teacher at a secondary school, UK, where a student with additional needs likes to have a wank at the back of his classes. He's done it once in mine, I'm male, and at least twice in a female colleague's, so he's not picky or anything, just likes to tickle his pickle when he can. Had to bring parents in, apparently it's all the rage at home too. Even dinner isn't off limits, as mum's caught him with pastu in one hand and his cock in the other before. It's the little things that make this the noble profession. Edit, Grandma. Start feeding him frosted flakes. That should stop him from masturbating, using an office chair to aim his anus true battleshits style. Thankfully the chamber was empty, but the puckering and pulsing as he tried will scar me forever. What kind of classes did you have? I teach students with challenging behaviors. Not a teacher, but in 10th grade, my history class was covering World War II and the Holocaust, so the teacher had us watch Schindler's List in class. For those who haven't seen the movie, there is a scene where the Nazi camp guards line up the prisoners completely naked. Children, men, and women of all age groups were lined up and nothing was censored. Truly a horrific scene in a sad, but fantastic movie. Out of the corner of my eye, I see one of my classmates jerking off under the desk, dick in hand, while looking at the screen very intensely. The teacher walked over and sat on the back tables next to his desk and he stopped. After the bell rung, the teacher asked my classmate to stay and talk to her. I can only imagine the conversation they had or how the teacher mentally prepped herself for that kind of talk. Obviously, being in 10th grade, we gave the guy shit about it the entire rest of the year. Schindler's List. As a camp counselor I had to separate two boys about 8 years old having a sword fight in the bathroom. Needless to say I was the one who needed to talk to someone after that. Edit, my most upvoted comment is about little boys touching tips. Yikes. Edit 2, since y'all wanted details. It was after pool time and we were in the locker room changing. These two boys had gotten pretty friendly, but the issue is one of them had listening issues, because he had deaf parents, bad home issues. Anyways, he was a good kid but had issues listening. So I was helping another kid change. He was 5, so for them putting on clothes wasn't always easy. I heard them giggling and one said, "I cannot emphasize more that this is real, mine's bigger than yours, ha ha ha," and that gathered my attention and I looked over and I was like, "Hey, you two separate and change." I pulled one over to change on the other side and once they did I took both to the camp office to talk to my boss. I see nothing wrong with an honorable duel such as that. Edit, whoever gave me that silver, I challenge you to a duel. School policy is if you vomit you have to go home. Girl had detention after school and I had her last period. She vomited all over her book deliberately so she wouldn't have to go to detention. It did not work. I hope she did it again afterwards, just to give them hell for not following protocol. A pair of year 10 going at it doggy style in a secluded stairwell. For non-Brits out there, year 10 is the same as HS freshman, so around 14 to 15 years old. Thank you for that clarification. I had the wrong impression and was horrified.